What's up, everybody? Soren Baker here on Unique Access, and today for Best Albums, we're joined by Nick Grant. Thank you for coming through, sir.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure, man. And Nick has selected for his best album, Jay-Z, The Blueprint. Phenomenal album, came out in 2001.
2001, yeah.
So yeah, for you, Nick, what makes this a best album in your opinion?
It was one of the first albums I ever bought, so it's like a sentimental thing. I remember living with my grandmother and just begging her to take me to go buy it. So,
Okay.
you know, after aggravating her for so many hours, you know, we got in the car, went to buy it. I had my own money from just hustling and doing little things, taking out garbage,
Okay.
you know, just helping around the neighborhood, just doing little stuff like that, and saved up my own money. And it was like the second album I ever bought. The first was Equipment, but
Those are two good ones back to back.
absolutely, years apart though. You know,
Right.
I wasn't making a whole lot of money. So
98 to 2001. That's like
sure,
3
exactly.
years.
Yep. So
Okay.
yeah, that was one of the first albums I ever bought my own money, and vivid memory of my grandmother, so it sticks out as a, you know, sentimental thing for me. But musically, you know, different. It starts off with The Ruler's Back.
Right. Paying homage to Slick Rick.
Absolutely. A lot of Kanye production, a lot of Just Blaze production, classic album straight through, you know.
So with The Ruler's Back and it kind of starting off and it's got that Slick Rick thing, and obviously he's on Girls, Girls, Girls as well. The thing that
Q-Tip, Biz Markie as well.
right,
too, yeah.
but with Jay-Z, because you in a lot of your music you reference a lot of the people from the old school that you admire, you look up to.
Right.
And when Jay-Z was doing it with The Ruler's Back and even with Girls, 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 what did you think? What did that mean to you as a fan, as somebody that was studying the music and aspiring to get into it?
Him reaching back and pulling those people in,
Yeah.
it just shows that, you know, the effect that they had on him, you know, coming in the game, and the people that he grew up listening to. And, you know, I didn't know who these people were, you know.
Okay.
So it allowed me to go back and do research as well. I mean, I knew who they were, but it made me research even more because I was such a big fan of Jay-Z. It's like, oh, if he likes these people, I should really be into him. And,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So, you know, to have them on the record just shows that effect and, you know, that affinity that he had for those artists early on. So, you know, yeah. And not only that, he was just putting these people on these records. It sounded good, you know, it wasn't
Absolutely.
forced. It was natural. So, you know, I respected it. Great body of work.
Yeah, because with Girls, Girls, Girls in particular, I liked how he had each one of them on one of the choruses doing a
Different one. So not only that, not only just having these artists, these great hip hop, legendary pioneer artists on these records, I didn't even know that was another flip of another record.
Right.
You know, I don't know what it was.
Girls I Can't Adore.
Yeah, it was another flip. I don't know the group per se, but like off the top of my head, but you know, it allowed me to do more research because of the stuff that he was into, and I was so into his music that I wanted to know the things that he knew.
Right. Okay. And then you had also mentioned the Kanye West and Just Blaze production, and
Yes.
with that, this album, even though it had been done before, it's kind of known for ushering in or having a big influence of the soul samples and that type of thing. So for you, as an artist that liked, or as an aspiring artist at the time, listening to this type of music, like what difference did you get from it sonically than what a lot of other stuff you've been hearing?
For me, it was like the perfect blend of having those soul records and those soul samples incorporated with great lyrics. That was the first time I ever heard that, you know, people rhyming. Him rhyming so great, and that combination of his tone and his voice and the stuff that he was talking about. And on top of those soul records, whether it was Girls, 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 Just Blaze, You Don't Know Just Blaze, H.O.V.A, you know, which was a commercial smash, but it was still a lot of gems in this stuff, in these hit records. So for me, it was just the perfect blend, the first time me hearing a perfect blend of, and I'm like a big Snoop Dogg fan, so Doggy Style was like one of my favorite albums. It had a lot of samples in it too, but this was the very first time I heard, you know, a great combination of lyricism and samples together meshed in one. So, you know, it was very inspiring.
So with H.O.V.A, of course, you got the Jackson 5.
Jackson 5,
sample in there. And
Absolutely.
one of the things that I thought that Jay-Z is probably the best ever in rap is being able to have a supreme lyricism, but then also able to have all these crossover songs.
Absolutely.
But the other thing that takes him to the top, to me, is his ability to pick beats.
Absolutely.
Like his beat selection is phenomenal. I think more recently we've seen, like, I think Rick Ross is excellent at that as far as production.
Yeah.
So for you, how do you think Jay-Z is able to do what he does and still be super commercial without sounding commercial?
It's adapting to the times, but knowing what this thing is built on, you know what I'm saying? So it's a combination of everything. It's a combination of, you know, I grew up loving this music and I know what these things entail, like the hip hop culture is, I know what it is. I came up, you know, speaking from his perspective, he came up in a time where it was growing and it was new and it was fresh, so it was at its purest form, so he knew that.
Right.
But at the same time, you know, you gotta keep your ear to the streets of what's trendy and, you know, the things that are going on, so it's a perfect blend of, you know, a lot of different things.
Okay.
So, you know, I just believe in, you know, doing what the new young guys are doing, but also knowing what hip hop is in your heart. So.
Okay. Yeah. And then also he had Song Cry on there.
Song Cry, yes.
So with that one,
that's Just Blaze as well too.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
So that song I think was interesting because Jay-Z, one of the criticisms people have of him is that he doesn't have like a lot of songs that have a lot of like emotion to them per se.
Right. What? That's crazy.
Well, yeah. But that being said, for Song Cry, since that was a little bit different thematically as what was going on with the Blueprint, what made that song stand out to you?
You know, we rarely hear a lot of love songs from Jay-Z, so yeah. But that
unless he's talking about love and money.
That exactly. that doesn't mean that, you know, You Must Love Me was one of his greatest records and it's most personal, like, you know. Things that I would cringe if I had to talk about on certain records, you know. So when people to hear somebody say that, you know, he don't have emotional songs is like crazy, but
well, I think
from the female aspect, I never really hear a lot of, you know, emotional.
Right. His emotional stuff, I'd say maybe more The Reasonable Doubt in Her Lifetime Volume 1 era when he had it more, I think, throughout a lot of the records because it was dealing with a lot of like double crossing and how to, you know, survive.
Right.
But I think as he got more popular, maybe he still did it a few songs on each album, I think, but I think it became less about that and more about, you know, doing clever lyrics over, you know, super great beats.
Right.
Which he was one of the best, if not the best.
It was still gems in a lot of that stuff, though. You got to think, like, as time was growing, his life became different.
True.
You know what I'm saying? It was less stressful.
Yes.
To think, you know, you have all this success.
Right.
You know, the stuff that he would initially worry about, you probably don't worry about those types of things anymore. He probably don't have the same problems. There's different problems, and these are the things that he's speaking on right now because these are the things that he's going through. I always took him as a genuine artist and a person that always talked about his life and things that, you know, were personal to him. So, you know, if he talks about it, I feel like that's something that he's going through. So if you get less of that, it's because life is easier. Yeah. I would believe. And an artist, you know, I can only aspire to get to that point. I can't wait to get to that point where, you know, rap is not, I don't have to really worry about it. I'm just really doing it for the love, so. And
you were talking about life changing. Now, obviously, we don't really have record stores like we did back in 2001.
Absolutely.
So for you, I wanted you to explain and like, what was that feeling for you going to get the Blueprint at the record store and like the anticipation actually going and like getting it?
I remember going to Walmart and I was like really upset because Walmart only had the clean version.
Right. Yeah, they didn't carry the explicit version, I don't think.
Yeah, like the hunger I saw like of people actually going to the record store was through like family members and them being excited. You know, I didn't understand it when I was younger.
Okay.
Whether it was Cuban Links, Raekwon, and you know, my brother's era. Just seeing him waking up and just to go and unwrapping the plastic and putting it in and being excited. My excitement was through watching somebody else, and it eventually rubbed off on me to when I went to go buy the Blueprint album. But you know, first time it was great. Equipment, I had the dirty version, I had everything, but Blueprint, it was on Walmart only sold the clean version. But you know, my brother came down. He was actually living in Atlanta. I was still in South Carolina. He came down. I remember him telling him, he was like, "Yo, you got the clean version." He gave me his, you know, explicit version, and you know, that was dope. So, but yeah, just that excitement of just going. It was like, man, you know, this was something I lived for before I even ever wrote my first rap. You know what I'm saying? This is something I lived for and got excited about. So, you know, that was my life, to come home and, you know, I appreciated it more as opposed to the era of downloading it and, you know, people just giving you a burned CD and saying, you know, I appreciated the album. I took care of it. I put it back in the case when I was done listening, you know. I just appreciated the art a little more when the record store was open and, you know, the experience of going and having to make the effort, you know. The experience was just totally different.
Okay. So now looking back at the Blueprint, what do you think is the legacy of the album and what does it mean, do you think, for rap?
Oh man, it should mean everything to rap, you know. Like you said, good production. Being able to pick good production makes you stand out and it creates longevity. That, you know, they always say that's number one. I disagree, but it's definitely a key thing in making great music. So yeah, I mean, one of his best albums. You know, top three, you know.
Easily.
Reasonable Doubt, Black Album, Blueprint, you know what I'm saying? No particular order, it don't even really matter to me, but one of his best albums. And, you know, I would say his best album because Reasonable Doubt, of course, lyrically, everybody's gonna say that, but it took his whole life to make that album. But for me, what takes it over the top is me going to get it and my grandmother and annoying her. And
your connection to it.
Exactly, my connection to it. One of my fondest memories of her taking me to go get it with my own money. So I appreciated the album that much more.
Well, there it is, y'all.
Yeah.
Nick Rand here, Jay-Z, the Blueprint on Best Albums, man.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Unique access.